Plus,
I can
I'm in a
imagine.
different location, so I don't have my setup. I got shit everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Cool. So, been a while. I think it's been like 3 weeks since we spoke.
Yeah. Happy New Year and all that.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that good
Yep.
stuff.
Yep. Um, yeah, so you're in Florida.
Yeah, yeah, here till the end of the month. Which, in hindsight, probably wasn't the best time because work is just starting to get busy because we're like gearing up towards launching the app. So I'm trying to make content and like do all the million things that I have to do, but also, on vacation. But that's all right. Worst places to be.
Yeah. Well, I've been seeing all the content. It seems like you're just like I don't know, like repurposing your life to for content. I mean,
That's
which
pretty
is
much it.
like the great idea. It's like that's the move for sure.
Well, it makes it easier for sure. And that's also a lot of the content in our niche is basically just repurposing your camera roll
Hmm.
because you're filming your daily life with kids anyways. So all I really have to do is just go about my day and film the funny shit that my kid does and then
Yeah.
just repurpose that for the content.
Yeah. I mean, it actually might be a cool like virtual scrapbook of him growing up.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It was really fun actually. So I told my parents about the app like 2 days ago, and both of them are on Instagram, just laughing, scrolling through the videos, looking at all the content. Because for them, it's even more enjoyable because it's their
Yeah.
grandkid.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun to document.
Have you gotten any signups from the posts?
I think we have like 30 people on the like pre-launch list, I think.
Hmm.
So yeah, a bunch came in today, like 10 people came in today. And then before that, it's anybody that we're collaborating with as a content creator is also going to get access to the app because they need to use it to post content.
Yep.
Um, yeah, so like the views are looking good on some of the videos, and then others are kind of flops. I think that when we just repurpose our life and I just repurpose my camera roll, we can get, between 1,500 to 5,000 views. But then the ones that I put a little more thought into that are a little more intentional, those are the ones that'll get, 20, 50,000, or that one random one that got basically 3 million views combined.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It's always the ones that you don't necessarily think that are gonna go crazy or I don't know. I stopped trying to like figure that out so long ago,
Yeah,
just like keep posting, keep making content.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Plus, I think the content that works well to advertise a product or an app is a lot different than the content that's going to just perform organically.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I put, like, great example, the video that got 3 million views, it was literally Noah unwrapping a Christmas gift. Like that was it.
Hmm.
And I did that one late at night. I'm just like, oh, this is kind of funny. And I just put it out there. And the next morning it was at, I don't know, 175,000 views. I'm like, oh, wow, this is tearing. This is crazy. But the amount of feedback and comments that we got of people being like, this is false advertising, or you're just doing this for affiliate money, or this has nothing to do with the app. Like the actual amount of negativity was unbelievable.
That's interesting. That's probably what helped fuel the growth of that video for sure.
100%. 100%. Yeah. So when I saw that,
Mhm.
I thought, oh, I can comment farm again. I can do this again. So I made like a reverse negative video of him in the airplane, pretending that people were mad that he was crying on the airplane. And that one did well because it was eliciting negativity. And
Hmm.
then I did a comment reply on the vacuum video of someone saying it doesn't work and me showing the actual functionality of the vacuum. So there are a couple little things where I'm just like, I'm kind of farming it a bit.
Yeah, that's it's tough. It's you have to have some thick skin to be able to handle that. But I think once you get over the hump that it's not like about you. It's about like the concept of what it is that you're showing. So
Yeah.
it's like you almost have to dissociate yourself from those negative comments.
It
Because
doesn't bother me at all. To be honest, I find it funny. I want to be completely ruthless. Like there are a couple comments and I look at the person's profile, I'm like, oh my God, I could just tear you apart. But then Kathy is in my ear. She reminds me, no, this is an app. Like we want people to use this. You can't just shit on people because you think it's funny. So I need to remind myself that it's not just me shit talking. It's, you know, something that
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to make work.
Yeah. We got to get to fuck you money first. Then we can shit talk to the
Or if
kids
the
from home.
negativity can help fuel the growth. Like Elon Musk shit talks all the time. Obviously, he has fuck you money, but
That too. Yeah.
but he shit talks because it fuels it. It makes it even better.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I've tried to lean into that as much as I can. Um, with, I mean, just engagement now. Like I try to do more engage, like outbound engagement, which is not something I used to do. And whenever I catch myself like just doom scrolling, I'm like, oh, I just need to engage with better content so that way it's not showing me irrelevant stuff or yeah, just anything irrelevant to what I'm trying to look for. And I've been able to
Yeah,
like better curate my feed of interesting things. And Twitter has been, I think, the best platform for that for the last 3 to 6 months because people are actually posting what they learn there versus where Instagram and TikTok, it's more still about like trying to gain virality or I don't know. It's not as much just like here's what I learned.
what Instagram and TikTok isn't.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Instagram and TikTok are still more like um, I don't know. It's just I don't know. I'm just getting way more of it on X or Twitter because I think I'm curating my feed to do so, and it's responding in that way
Yeah.
versus Instagram and TikTok, which are just random stuff.
Well, I think because Insta and TikTok, their hook is visual. It just pulls people in a different way. Like you can passively scroll on Insta and TikTok really easily, but passively scrolling on Twitter, you're normally interested in like a topic or some sort of sub niche that you're reading, or you're reading
Yeah.
replies to a tweet that you thought was interesting or funny. So it's a little bit more active. I think there's better information. Like you're going to get more out of it.
It's also difficult to make videos on the back end analytics of SEO improvement over, like, yeah, okay. Which is like, that's the shit I'm kind of interested in at this stage, not, here's how to make a logo, which is what we were doing, I don't know, years and years and years ago.
Mhm.
But speaking of things that I've been learning, so here's definitely one to put on your
Cool.
list. I don't know if you read this one yet?
No, but I'm
No.
literally putting it on my list right now.
So this one and the acceleration formula, the HubSpot 100 million. The author of that book wrote a review on this book,
Oh, interesting.
and I'm about three-fourths of the way done with it so far. But it's uncanny how many times I've been like, "Oh my God, we failed," and then organically learned that point where the book is like this is how it works. Your business, your SaaS business is not unique. Everything comes down to the same few levers and it's all just a math equation and you need to use data to make decisions and that's it. And that's why it's called software as a science because it's all based on data, analytics and math, which
That's
I
really
love.
cool.
And so as I've been reading it, I've been trying to take nuggets of information and then apply it and figure out how I can, make those adjustments to my own business. And the big aha moment or like the big one that I'll share because there's several is the concept of the growth ceiling. And so the growth ceiling takes into account is your current customers, your new customer month, customers or subscribers, current customers, new customers per month, your monthly churn rate percentage, and your monthly average revenue per customer. If you have those four variables, you can chart out on a graph when when your MRR growth will stall out. And it's very true because I ran it for like our current numbers, I ran it for our past numbers, and at those levels where we did stall out at those numbers, for example, like we stalled out at around 10K MRR 2 years ago or something, and we were like, well, it's like we can't get out of this, and it's because we weren't getting enough new customers, and our churn was too high, and all these different things. And then we made a big adjustment where we changed something fundamentally, and then the funnel kind of got reset, and then all those four digits or all those four variables changed slightly to then allow us to kind of go up to another level. And so a lot of the concepts in the book are, how do you affect your acquisition, retention, and expansion to improve your growth ceiling to be $100 million business? And yeah,
But yeah, that's the math equation, right? That's it. So to put it in layman's terms, like as simply as possible, if you're taking on 10 new customers a month and you have a 10% churn, in the first month, you're going to lose one customer. But in the 10th month, you're going to lose 10 customers, right? So now you're acquiring customers at the same rate you're losing them. And that's the stagnation point. And then you multiply that by your ARR. So if the deal size is like $2,000 per customer, you're
yep,
capped at $20,000 per month. So those are the
exactly.
numbers that you're talking about. And the only way to fix it is to reduce, like eliminate your churn, find a way to avoid structural churn, like your customers going out of business, and either acquire more customers or well, yeah, acquire more customers by either decreasing your cost of customer acquisition or increasing your cost of advertising and increasing your uh
Average.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, of those three things that you just mentioned, which do you think has the biggest impact on the business in a
Price.
positive in a positive way? Price?
I'd probably say price. Yeah. Because price can scale infinitely. Your
Yeah.
churn percentage can only be reduced down to zero.
I thought the same thing.
Okay.
So I thought it was new customers because I'm like, if we just slam new sales, that will outpace our churn. But it's actually churn. Churn is the number one,
Mm,
and this is the mathematical reason why it's like the term in SaaS is churn is the most important metric because of this reason. When you reduce your monthly churn by like 1%, that increase grows your growth ceiling by like 20 to 30%, depending on your other numbers. Whereas the other numbers, if you try to, and I'm greatly simplifying, full chapters of this book, but if you focus on new customers and try to slam ad budget, you start churning through your entire market faster than you would have if you just reduced your churn and focused on your existing amount of new customers.
that's really interesting. And I guess the other, yeah, go ahead, finish up.
And it's not even close. Like it's like idiotic to focus on these other things until you fix the main one, which is churn. And if it's not basically in a single digit, if it's not a single digit number, like you're in trouble.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. See, there are so many bits and pieces that I've learned just by reading different books, and mainly podcasts have been massively helpful for me when building the software. Uh, but there's so many little pieces that when I hear it from you or I hear it in a different way, it makes it a lot easier to put it together.
Hmm.
Um, what was my point on Churn? Right. Yeah. If you increase the price or if you acquire new customers, if you increase the price, you're just raising the ceiling a little bit, but not exponentially. Like you're only raising it by the price increase multiplied by the average deal size. Um, and then if you increase the number of customers, I think the secondary side effect is if you have high churn and you acquire new customers, not only are you ripping through your total addressable market faster, but
Yep.
you're increasing the size of your reverse word of mouth, which means if people are churning, people will talk about the churn experience to others faster than if you fix the churn problem to begin with before taking on new customers.
Yeah. Yeah. So it all kind of boils down to those three levers of uh what is it? Acquisition, retention, expansion.
Hmm.
And if your churn is basically negatively affecting your business, the only thing that you need to focus on is your retention, which comes to the points of acquisition and onboarding and customer success and getting people to the first value. There are so many points in this book, and there's even terms like the whole AI aha moment that we've been using since almost day one. They have that literally written out as, oh yeah, the aha moment of your software is the first value that your customers can get. It needs to be like 3 steps long in order to get it. Ours is like 27 steps. So I'm like, okay, there's
Whoops.
clear things that we can do there. But it's so like it's so nice to read something and see that they're recommending strategies that we've organically figured out over time, which leads me to believe that the other strategies that are ahead of us by 6 to 12 months or whatever are the correct moves, even though we're not even there yet. So when we do get to those points, I now have kind of a reference to be like, okay, this is what they're recommending. Their recommendations are probably pretty good because the last ones have matched what I've organically figured out and paid the price for.
Hmm.
And because of all this, you know, I now value the Dan Martell, that guy, like all of his advice, his courses, all of his stuff in the SaaS Academy stuff. I'm like, oh, that there's probably a lot of value in there, and I needed like this to prove to me almost in a weird way that the advice was actually good, which I only know because I've gone through that and came out with the same answer on the other end.
Right, right. Yeah, it's cool when you figured it out on your own and then you hear someone else that's way further ahead of you also reaffirm that the lesson you learned was the correct lesson.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the
and
aha moment is basically a dictionary term at this point. Like,
pretty
if the
much
customer doesn't have the aha moment in your onboarding and in the first experience using the app, then that's probably the first thing you need to fix to address your churn issue.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So now I'm working on so now I'm like thinking from a product development point of view and management point of view. There's kind of three silos to our application. There's the existing functionality and infrastructure. There's our new functionality, which is going to be things like live chat, master chat, AI phone calls, those things. And then there's another silo or like another category that is app improvements, basically, which is not something that is like a customer facing feature, but it's trying to, again, play with those toggles to increase our onboarding by 1%, decrease our I don't know, like figuring out all those little things that we can do, but not major changes, just small kind of iterational tests to see is this going to affect things positively or negatively. Thinking about like product tours, more event driven emails, which is not something that we're totally taking advantage of right now. Onboarding tour, like product tours and things, but it's very calculated based off of what we know that our most successful customers are actively doing. So,
Yeah, it's cool that you're at the point of fine tuning it. Like you're growing every month, and now it's just trying to fine tune a percentage here and a percentage there, and that'll make all the difference.
yeah,
Not today, but 12 months from now, you're gonna realize those gains.
exactly. And pretty sure ads are working fairly decently.
Nice.
I upped budget to $100 a day, and
Are
Still
you tracking the
rocking.
ROAS?
Yes, through like total ROAS. I'm tracking total ROAS
Yeah, got it.
because I just it's too difficult to do it per channel. So
Yeah.
yeah, so right now this let's see. So since the beginning of the year, so we're 9 days in here. I've tracked with Facebook. I've tracked 141 new accounts created for $758. So $5.38 per account created. Now, I know the math breakdown based off of when someone creates an account to when they become a paid subscriber.
Hmm.
That percentage right now is an average of 5%. So 5% of these new accounts created are converting to be a paid subscriber at an average of 195 per month.
Which is your acquisition cost at $5.38 per new account created and a 5% conversion rate. Your acquisition cost is $108. And your average MRR is 197, you said?
Yes. Yeah.
So 197 divided by 108. You, my friend, are sitting at a 1.82 ROAS on month one, which is
Yeah.
the fucking crazy part.
So, and that's in the book. They're like, if you don't make back your customer acquisition cost in 90 days, your funnel is broken.
Interesting.
So I
Interesting.
know that I'm making money, and that calculation's not totally correct because it's just taking into that in Facebook into account. So what I did was taking total new paid subscribers divided by our total ad spend across Facebook and Google. And that's giving me an average of $60.37.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But I think you have a lot coming through organically as well. So
Agreed.
as you
Yes.
scale budget, that 60 might go to 70 or 80 if you were to spend like 500 or $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
But the point is, like even just on the ad spend, it looks like you're profitable on the first month.
On the
And
first
then
month.
if your
Yeah.
retention is even, let's call it like worst case 3 months, that's still a 5.5, 5.5 ROAS, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You should increase that spend if you can.
Yes. And that's what I've been doing for the last few weeks, basically, is just kind of moving ad spend up. I tested another creative. It did twice as worse as the existing one. So
Interesting.
turned that one off and reallocated that budget back to the existing one. And what I noticed is the frequency almost reset, which was interesting. When I scaled it to 100 a day, the frequency went down from like a 2.1 to a 1.4.
Is this just a retargeting audience?
No, this is cold.
Then frequency is irrelevant.
Okay, good.
I wouldn't even look at it.
Okay.
And frequency also changes based on the date range. If you're looking at 30 days, frequency is different than it is at 7 days.
Because people come in and out of
Well, frequency is the
that
number of
audience.
times someone in the audience has seen the ad.
Yeah.
So when frequency reaches two, it means everybody that is considered a viable purchaser in that audience has seen the ad at least once.
Yeah.
So frequency is a little misleading because it starts at one. It should actually start at zero and then go up.
Oh, so when when the number is two, they've seen it
They've
once.
seen it once. Every viable purchaser in the audience has seen it once.
Okay. So what
And
I'm thinking,
viable purchaser is a big asterisk because if you're
yeah,
targeting like USA abroad, the percentage of viable purchasers is maybe 2%. I don't know.
yeah.
Like not very big
Well, so
relative to the size of the audience.
does Facebook then make a that an audience of those people for in a certain amount of budget, and then when you scale your budget, it then opens up to a bigger version of that audience?
Exactly. Yeah. So this is the
Okay.
lowest hanging fruit scenario on a cold audience.
Okay. So
Even if
then
it's a
that
cold audience, there's a portion that's retargeting, especially if you're using an Advantage Plus campaign.
okay, that
And
makes
then when
sense.
you scale up, it just goes to less and less qualified people.
Yeah. Yeah. So based off of all of our numbers, that's a cold ad, and we're converting at a 10x roughly with our
Right.
LTV.
Yeah. See, that's crazy. That's
Crazy.
crazy.
Grant. Okay, so that's point one. Point two is okay. So now that I've read that book, now that I have a ad funnel that's working, what do I focus on? Where do I put my time and investment? Do I scale ad budget or do I fix churn? Fix churn. If I
Mm,
can fix churn and keep keep this funnel going, uh, then that funnel becomes even more profitable by improving the onboarding. Like out of the so last week we had 126 new accounts get created overall. We had 10 new paid subscribers
okay. Nice.
and three people churned. So yeah, it's just like if we can reduce that, or of the 126, could we make 15 become paid?
Yeah. Yeah. Which, I mean, both numbers are going to matter, but then thing, the other thing that you'll have to look at is churn on like a cohort analysis. So what percentage of the first month churn happens in that month versus, so if you go to 10 down to 7 in the first month, is that 7 going to go down to 4, or is it going to stay at 7, or is it going to go to 6 in the second month? Because churn is going to like be like this because you're
Mm-hmm.
going to have some legacy customers.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, month one is in like the 90 to 100% retention.
Hmm.
It drops to like 60% around I think month 4 or 5 or so, and then our long term retention is I don't have that one on the top of my head, but
So it's so interesting you say that. Sorry, I'm going to just like sidestep this for a second. Uh, I a good friend of mine has been a long time Swift developer, Apple developer, and he's worked on some of the craziest apps and has their marketing team help advertise them. And he says the one variable for effective versus ineffective advertising and getting an app to go mega viral is the cost of acquisition in the first month. And if you are not breaking even on your cost of acquisition in the first month, then it's very unlikely that the app is going to pop off and it's going to be viral. So then you go to, okay, how do you guarantee 12-month retention? Annual subscription. Easy, especially on iOS apps, they're very low cost. So it's easy to get an annual subscription, especially if you overprice the monthly. Then the annual can look really, really good,
yeah.
right? So how do you get the annual subscription, and what price should that be? What's a perfect pricing psychology? So this is where I'm so grateful that I have a background in e-commerce and paid advertising, because I know that the perfect price across every product in every industry to get the highest return on ad spend on paid advertising is about $34 to $35 from
For a purchase.
for a product. For yeah, if you are to sell a product using paid ads on Meta or Google, the optimal cost of the product, this is subject to your margin, obviously, but is going to be about $35.
Okay.
So we priced the because I've worked with so many different brands, right? And this is just like Shopify released some stats of like the highest volume of sales relative to the price. You with me so far?
Yeah, yeah, I get you.
Okay. So we priced the app intentionally at $29 for the year or $10 for the month. So $10 for the month because now the annual is going to look like a really good deal. So
Hmm.
the majority of users are going to select the annual, which means the average order value in most cases is going to be $29, which is perfect. It's just below, very, very close to what the ideal purchase price is going to be. I wanted to bring it down just a little bit lower because I'm more focused on user acquisition than revenue growth. And at
Hmm.
the same time, you're locking in 12-month retention, which I'm hoping when the renewals hit in 12 months, that's when you're going to start to see some enterprise value.
And will it be the same price in 12 months?
Probably not. No,
Yeah.
there will
Yeah.
be a price increase.
Yeah. Early access discount or something.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
But it's
Okay.
interesting to hear you talking about the return on ad spend and how to retain users, because everything that you're saying has been reaffirmed to me by other developers that I'm speaking to that are working specifically on iOS apps, which is what I'm interested in right now.
Yeah. Well, and that I think that's another revelation of this book. The first chapter is you're not unique, you're not different.
Right.
You're the exact same. Every software business is the exact same. Get over yourself, basically. And I'm like, oh, okay, shit. Like, all right. And then they give so many examples of, people that are like, oh, I do this like crazy niche thing. And they're like, it's same shit. Like, so I think this is going to be a really, really cool podcast. I think long term as we both go from basically zero to hopefully billions of dollars in market value for the things that we're creating within software and
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a
everything.
cool timestamp. But you can see how there are dev shops that continuously crank out really high usage apps or apps that just generate a huge amount of revenue. Because
Yeah.
once you've kind of cracked the code, once you
Hmm.
understand the formula and the metrics and how to scale it, I think it becomes a lot easier. And this is all just the learning curve that I'm going through now. And I can say the same thing coming from the agency space. I can look at an ecom brand for 15 minutes and know pretty quickly if it's going to scale or not and how effectively we'll be able to scale and like what the ceiling is going to be. And I mean, even down to some of the manufacturing and distribution issues that they might have with the products, but like you can kind of foresee it because you've been down that road. And I can't foresee it yet with software, but it's cool being able to rely on people like you or some of my other developer friends that have been down the road and just reaffirm that I'm looking at the right metrics because that's really all I can do right now.
That's a great way to put it. That's exactly how I feel about this book.
I'm going to read it.
Yeah, that reaffirming, and I think that also when we get on these calls and I'm like we're each testing different things and then sharing those experiences and learnings, crazy valuable.
Yeah. Speaking of testing interesting things, I, not me, a friend of mine had a great idea on how to grow the app today.
Okay.
So I announced it on my personal socials today because until then I'd been just building up some of the content and making sure that the app is on track to launch, which it is. So we're all good. So I announced it, and a friend of mine who runs a very successful agency, he said this would be a perfect collab with one of my clients. And I can't say the name, but it's a brand in the child education space. And they do like booklets and educating products. And they do about $80 million a year in revenue. So I got to talking to him, and he goes, yeah, well, we send emails on Klaviyo every day. It's like, this would be such an easy collaboration. It's like, it's the perfect niche because part of a piece that we're building in the app is early childhood education, which I think is going to be really important. It's like, so, oh, great, what a shoe in. And we're doing something pretty interesting with everybody we're collaborating with. We're giving a massive revenue share incentive on organic and an even bigger revenue share incentive on paid. So if we're using a creator's content on paid ads, they get a 50% revenue share. So it's this massive incentive to enable advertising rights for us. But on the organic side, if you want to send an email campaign or do anything, we have a pretty large 30% revenue share offer recurring. So this whole time I'm thinking, okay, how do we collaborate with creators that have big followings and then we can repost their content. They're going to tag us as a collaborator, enable advertising rights so we can advertise to their audience using their own Instagram account, which is great. But I didn't even think about the email side for all these e-commerce brands aimed at the exact same industry. They have these massive email lists, and it would just be such an easy shoe in. And we could either pay them for a one-time send. After looking at their Klaviyo metrics, I have a pretty good understanding of if it'll work or not, or just pay them a revenue share based on the activity that we get to drum in from one send.
Hmm. It's like the same customer. They're just seeing it from a different spot that they already trust.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a world I understand. Like I've worked in Klaviyo on so many accounts. I can look at the metrics and understand pretty quickly if it's going to work. Whereas the influencer space, I'm pretty lost on, just trying to figure that out now.
Yeah. From all the people that for the influencers that you've talked to, has advertising rights come up in like the first conversation, or are
No.
they aware of it?
So I'm asking for as little as possible and trying to negotiate our rate down because we're bootstrapping it. I don't have a lot of funding for it. So if, for example, if a creator is typically charging $5,000 per video, I'll try to get them down to 1K per video and then maybe get them to do two videos. So they still get 2K. It's like almost their full rate. There's just a second video that they have to produce. But then in the contract, once we've negotiated that, in the contract, it's okay, repost to TikTok, share the post to your stories with the URL linking to our app page, tag us as a collaborator in the Instagram post, and which enables advertising rights on Meta, and turn on ad authorization for a year on TikTok. So now we have advertising rights on the content. It's on both platforms and it's shared to their stories and their close friends with the URL. So it's all these tiny, tiny little things that I think are going to take it from someone just talking about the in their content to something that we now have advertising rights on, and it will get users hopefully by sharing it to their stories.
Hmm.
Um, and this was actually a tip from another e-commerce brand called Mom Ease. Their entire traffic source, their entire customer acquisition plan is reposting the most viral content on TikTok onto Instagram. And they're doing 250,000 a month at about a 50% margin, completely organic from reposting popular content. And by doing that, the guy that founded this, it's a dropship brand, it's absolutely crazy. The guy that founded it realized that people are willing to pay him to get their content reshared on his page because every video gets an average of 600,000 to a million views. So cool. So now I have people that are willing to pay me to post that content and it drives traffic to my ecom site.
That's a holy
So
grail
when I
moment
spoke with
right there.
him, we're going to pay him for a post. Of course, he's got great exposure. Absolutely brilliant founder, young dude. Um, what was I saying? Yeah. So this was his suggestion. He goes, okay, we work with a ton of brands. He's like, I highly recommend you do the share to story with URL because that is what people are going to click on. It's a lot easier rather than saying link in bio and you're just sharing the content. And
Hmm.
it's coming full circle, I'm doing the weave. Uh, you it's no extra work on the creator's part. To reshare it to TikTok, there's a huge benefit for us because we get that double-sided exposure, but it's no extra work for the brand owner. Same thing to share it with their story and add a URL or to post it and tag us as a collaborator. There's virtually zero added effort. So if you're already putting in the effort to produce one video and share it as a reel on Instagram, you'd might as well share it on both platforms, add it to your stories, and tag us as a collaborator and turn on ad authorization. It's just a couple clicks that make it infinitely more valuable for us. And the way that we encourage them to do that is we say, look, we have these amazing revenue share features in place. So if you want to play ball a bit, if you can, give us more than what you're willing to do on a regular contract, you're going to get paid for it in the form of revenue share, and it's a residual contract. So we have an auto payment system for every creator on the first of every month. So if it goes well, this is going to be a recurring contract for them. But if it doesn't, then it's terminated. So anyway, my negotiation tactics are I'm chatting a lot, is get them to commit to one video and then add on all of the other things that we're looking for that are going to make it successful and incentivize them with a revenue share and a long-term contract. I still don't know if it's going to work. So, if anybody's listening, I have not done this yet. This is my plan, but it's going to launch March 1st. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. We're going to spend about 10K a month on creators and cross our fingers.
Interesting. Yeah, I've since I used to charge per platform because the audience size was different,
Hmm.
but still like within the range of being able to put them together. But I still charge separately. But I've since changed that to now becoming just a And sometimes in the past when companies didn't pay for the extra channel, I would still post at those channels because I was like, I need content to post.
Totally.
So I'm just gonna post it anyways. You're like, you're welcome. You guys got a free poster on a channel, but yeah, now it's just it's the video and then like check boxes if they want it, if they want like the hard download themselves, if they want advertising rights. And I know to do that now, but I didn't know to even ask for that for a long time. Like I could ask for more money for
For
that,
all these little things.
for all
Yeah.
these little things.
And all the big creators, like the way that I'm describing it, nobody does it like this. No creator is willingly giving you a repost to another platform with the story, with the URL, with advertiser rights. No one is willingly doing it. They are normally asking you to pay for it. But I just
Yes.
counter with saying, look, I understand that it's more value for us, but by you doing this, it will probably turn what could be a one-time contract into something that's paid every single month over the next year. It's a huge amount of value for us. It's the revenue retention that you're looking for, and it's no added effort for you. It's 5 minutes.
It's where you're a good salesman. You're such a good salesman for for stuff like this.
I don't know. We'll see. This strategy was taken from the Cal AI guys. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then plus talking to this one ecom brand founder uh, that gave me the advice on the shared a story with URL thing,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty good.
Yeah. My next thing is going to be way simpler. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stammer's tech is no joke.
Yeah, and it's like from our roadmap of what we're focused on, we're going to be greatly increasing that with new features, new front end features. All the foundational stuff of white labeling and all that is going to be maintained, but we're just going to start tacking on more features that people have been asking for that we know, I mean, people are willing to pay more money than their subscriptions to for us to make this feature for them so they can
Right.
sell it and make money with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's really cool.
yeah.
It's good because you have legitimate business owners using your platform that are making millions of dollars. So for them to shell out 20 grand for custom dev work is really not an issue.
And it's like product market fit and product validation before anything. Like
Hmm.
we're not just being like, "Oh, let's pick a feature out of a hat and we'll build that." It's like we've had several people ask for these things and then a few of those people are like, I'll be paying money like I don't know. It's that early idea of try to get people to pay for an idea or concept before you build it. Like, and it's happening in a lot in many different ways.
Yeah, you're just pre-selling it. You're getting the revenue for it and then you're building it out.
Exactly. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
live chat, that's already finished and done. We're in testing right now for that. So
Nice.
essentially, we'll have a intercom competitor now because you can just log in and start chatting with customers after an AI chats with it, and then potentially turn the AI back on when you're sick of talking to the person.
Hmm. That's so smart. That's
Um,
really clever.
yeah, so that'll be out this month. And then Master Chat, which I think is going to be super exciting, which is essentially a version of ChatGPT, but it will allow you to create your own custom GPTs in your own white label version of a ChatGPT style like interface. So think of our existing platform is mostly for external use via
Hmm.
chat widgets. Master Chat is all internal use with an internal focus. And
That's really cool.
I'm super excited to do that because I think that will allow us to do influencer deals like what you're doing because it can be more consumer focused because you could make an AI agent chatbot inside Master Chat that writes emails for your company based off of some interesting things or how your CEO likes to respond to emails. Load all that into the knowledge base, and now the AI will generate emails for you. Things like that. Where this gets, I think, really exciting is you can then port in custom AI agent custom functions, which will allow you to connect to things like a Shopify store. So in theory, you could have an AI agent that's in your Slack channel, for example, or in this master chat style interface, and be like, how many, do we have this product in stock? No. Oh, there should be 10. Update it to 10 and enter. And then boom, it's updated to no, you don't have to log in to anything. It's just the AI agent goes, does it, comes back and says, okay, I updated the availability. Now you have 10. You can do that with basically any API endpoint on any platform in the world.
Holy shit. Dude,
So
that's huge.
you'll
Holy
be, yeah.
shit.
So you'll be able to build AI agents, true AI agents, not just chatbots, AI agents that can go and do actions for you on your behalf and then come back with the results and then sell those as your own software with this update.
That is crazy. Think about the applications that could have. If you could have a chat interface with something, even something on WhatsApp, imagine you sell
Bro,
like
anything.
a realtor assistant that updates like your Zillow listings or something. Like the applications could be
Anything.
endless.
Endless. Endless. As long as there's an API or like something that the AI can connect to, like
Hmm.
it will work.
Fuck, this is crazy. This is going to
Yeah.
be a marketing challenge, though. You're going to have to show individual use cases of how this works.
Exactly. Exactly. So we've already figured out what those use cases are based on the people that are willing to pay for it because they've told us exactly what their use case is. And we're like, oh yeah, we can, no problem. We just need to build it. So those will be like one of the new onboarding processes where we try to get people to that first value quicker. Instead of scraping their website and creating a bot on their own thing, which will be an option, they could just be like, oh, here's a sales AI agent. Here's like 5 different examples for a bunch of different niches of businesses and companies. And then like you just click a button, launch, and then you're now talking with that AI agent and taking, it could do actions based off what it has access to.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's so cool. See, I think version one of Stammer, up until what you're talking about now, is that will eventually be like the lightweight version where, oh, yeah, you can upload a database, you can have
Yeah.
chatbots. Of course, it embeds
Cool.
into all your
Yeah.
socials and WhatsApp and your website, and great. But version two is it will do things to the softwares that you're using in a conversational type interface.
Yes.
Do we have any of these in stock? No, none in Shopify. Okay, update it to 12. I found a box in the back of the warehouse. Cool, done. No
Exactly.
problem. Change the price to this. Let's run a discount. Add this discount code. Send it to the Klaviyo team or add it to this Klaviyo campaign. Boom, boom, boom. Gone.
Yeah. You could connect it to your email and then be like, send an email to this person with saying that. And it'll
You
just
could
boom.
you could run your you could run an entire business just on an interface through this.
Yeah. Well, so let's say you have one bot that's connected to Shopify that has all that stuff. You could make another one that can send emails for you. You could then make another one that's connected to your Google Sheet that has your current finance stats or whatever. You could then
Unbelievable.
have a chat where you have all 3 of those in one chat room. And then you can be like, here's my problem, guys. And it will then go through, and each one will have its own answer, which can then influence the answer of the other. So the finance one could be like, or you'd be like, I need more sales. The finance be like, well, you have this much money based off of your sheet here. Then that is read by the Shopify one being like, oh, well, we only have X amount of products in stock, so we could only sell this amount. Like the having them work together kind of in like think virtual office, like a virtual office space where each person has their own kind of thing and they all kind of talk together in a meeting where there's a manager orchestrating it. You. Yeah.
It's blowing my mind. This is I think this is going to be a big competitive advantage for you because it's so easy for Uh, it's a lot easier for people to crank out little witty softwares that have small edge cases. Just because you have ChatGPT, you don't have to build the functionality of it. You just
Hmm.
need a well-branded interface. Uh, but something that has legitimate functionality that's going to pull into all these APIs, that's not something the average Joe is going to be able to do. And
Yeah,
that will be real retention mechanism and eventually enterprise value of Stammer.
exactly. And that's so our custom functions feature right now allows you to do this. However, you need to know how to write third party code. You need to know how to connect
Yeah.
that to the other system, which is doable using things like Replit AI or Cursor or Claude. It's very doable, and I've made tutorials on it, but it's not at the point where it's easy yet. And I think that's going to be one of the things that we work on where this whole idea of AI agents beyond AI chatbots, how do we make that process where you don't have to go write third party code and you don't have to do
Yeah.
these other things? You can just click some things, maybe log into some things, and then it kind of just works, like that's
Yeah.
the end goal. But I think the cool part is so many of our customers are not the end users, they're the agencies. The agencies will help us develop these integrations and these programs and all like they have been doing, which then helps us make the product better. And then it's like this self-fulfilling feedback system. Like there's a customer the other day that discovered that it's possible for our website chat widget to render images because our chat widget can render HTML. So if you put it in the prompt, hey, if you come across an image URL, you should render it in HTML. Something that simple allows the AI widget now to show product images or even embed YouTube videos inside the chat. And that was a feature I've
Interesting.
been requesting for months. And it was functional like 3 months ago when we released the HTML update, but that wasn't like a tested feature that we had tested for. That was
Right.
something an agency figured out that we're now releasing as a feature.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable. But see, knowing how to use it and knowing how to code right now is the barrier to entry. I think of AI right now as, in terms of its like adoption, as kind of like buying crypto before you had MetaMask or Coinbase. You can
Mm-hmm.
do it, but you need to know where to go and you need to know how to do it. Whereas right now, if you need to learn how to code to tap into different companies' APIs to achieve the function that you want, if you don't know how to code, then the barrier to entry is too high and you're not going to be able to do it. And you're just going to rely on the tools that are already available. But if
Yep.
you're the one that's making that tool available, if you're the one selling the shovel, then users will come to you, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're going to have the functionality that like a lightweight software is not going to have.
There was some thread I was looking at, or some Silicon Valley billionaire guy was asked, how do you see AI? Like, where is the state? Where are we at with AI? And he was like, oh, it's like 1996 right now compared to the internet revolution.
Yeah.
So we're still very early, like in this whole space. And one more point I wanted to kind of bring up before we wrap up here is so this and this kind of backtracks a little bit, but it's really interesting. So this book talks about a holy grail metric, which is called net negative revenue churn. And it's defined as your expansion revenue from existing customers being more valuable, which outpaces your churned revenue. So upselling and making more customers, making your existing customers more valuable outpaces your churn. And they give an example here of Twilio, where Twilio makes more money from their existing subscribers using the platform with usage-based fees than they do in new customers signing up to the platform.
Interesting.
And they're like, if you can have a net negative revenue churn that is higher than your churn, you're in a holy grail scenario where you could lose customers per month, like have negative MRR growth, but your business revenue is still growing because your existing customer base is so profitable. I did not even
Interesting.
know this was a thing, obviously, right? But we built in usage based billing 6 months ago.
Hmm.
And our version of this is now at about, I mean, last month it was almost I don't know, it was like $10,000 almost
What? Just in upselling existing customers?
on people recharging their wallets, not subscriptions.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. That's substantial.
very substantial. And I'm like, okay, well, how do we keep that move? How do we keep that going? Because people that are on the full SaaS mode plan, they can just use their API key and circumvent that cost where we make a little chunk.
Right.
So I'm thinking with things like Master Chat, we might introduce user seats. And this is like just a concept that I'm thinking about because if
Mhm.
we charge for it, then our agency customers can charge their customers for it and they make more money.
Right. Right.
So do they want to make more money? And in a different way or maybe an easier way? Like maybe.
That'll probably come back to a marketing thing of like, hey, this is our cost to add a user. This is our recommended MSRP for agencies.
Yeah. Yeah. And if we do it the way that we've done everything else, it would be like $1 or $2 per user.
Sure. But
But
enough
then
to help you get that holy grail metric.
exactly. And then
Yeah.
when we do voice, we're going to have to bill per second per minute.
Mhm.
So the usage on voice, I think, is going to be very healthy.
I'm really, really excited for voice to come out.
Me too. Me too. Yeah.
Imagine, imagine voice with all of these multi-way APIs
That's
where
why
you
we're
could
doing
almost
that.
have a phone call with it and be
Yes.
like, hey, how many of these do we have in stock? Okay, update it to this, change the discount, set it up for 24 hours. Like
Yeah,
that would be crazy.
exactly. That's
It
one
it
of the
would
reasons why we decided to build Master Chat first over voice.
got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
following. It'll
Yeah.
be like the conversation interface on GPT-4, the paid version, which is already really, really good,
Hmm.
but using the plaid, what is it? I forget.
Well, we've now, I mean, there's a few different options which I think we're going to offer. So we might still use Bland. We might
Bland, yeah.
use 11 Labs has a new Flash model which they released, which is supposed to be as it has the same latency as OpenAI real-time API, which got reduced 60% in cost, which now makes it a viable option.
Mm,
And that makes it much easier because those are things that we already integrate with.
yeah.
So we started with real-time API and it's pretty good. I mean, it's like what you would expect, but I want to make it even better than that where there's more emotion in the voice. There's those things that we're starting to see with not robot AI voices, but like the human AI voices where
Mhm.
you can have more of a conversation with them. But yeah, so I mean, we're in the like we're hiring again, so we're bringing more people onto our engineering team. So that's going to be kind of like the next focus as we continue to grow here and really focus in on our churn and like improving the onboarding process and activation to start messing with those toggles.
Yeah, fine tuning all the numbers.
Yeah,
That's really exciting. It's cool to see the roadmap. That's really, really cool.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
probably exciting for you.
yeah. I'm very excited this year. I mean, we're and a lot of other little things too. Like we're going to add all the other models like Grok and Claude and hopefully Facebook and Llama and all those. We're going to do a whole new analytics dashboard, a bunch of UI updates. We're going to go crazy hard with integrations because that's like I was saying, like how people just want click, click, log in, and then it works.
Yeah.
Do a ton more of those. Yeah, and really take into account our public roadmap too, because a lot of people have been adding stuff to that, which is really cool to see um, that people engage. And that can be something cool to even put in your app too. Like, what features would you like to see? Just add a little text box and submit, or something.
Funny you say that. We added that yesterday.
Nice. There
I was
you
looking
go.
in the settings. I'm like, we need to start thinking about version 2. Like, okay, great. We'll throw this into the settings, into feature requests. So we have it going through like the native mail app, whatever you specify as your native, if it's like Gmail, Outlook, or the Apple Mail app, to give a feature request. And then that's being added into a spreadsheet and then categorized, broken up by theme, and then given a rank score based on the number of people that are requesting it. And then I'll send it off to the devs and get the level of difficulty. And then that will contribute to version 2 that we launch.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm trying to think ahead on that one
Do
because I
they
can already. Sorry, go ahead.
do they have the ability to like see what other people have added and upvote?
No, but that would be a really good idea.
That's that's how I know what to prioritize because I can go and I can see, oh, this one has 35 upvotes. Oh shit, we should probably build versus some guy in middle of nowhere who I want, this random fucking ass feature.
What are you using for like what are you using for this?
Yeah, yeah. I am using what's it called?
And that's just public on your website, right?
Yeah, public. Yeah, if you just go to roadmap.stammer.ai, what's it called?
Cool. That's all right. I can just inspect. I'll figure it out.
Feature OS.
Yeah. Feature
So
OS.
I use this platform to manage the public roadmap, our changelog updates. So every time we do a changelog update, it gets added,
Cool. I'm gonna look into this.
but I don't use it for the knowledge base feature.
And then where are people like would I be able to do because I already added this in and it's in our devs roadmap. I'm doing it as just an email right now. Like you can request it and like send it to an email. Do you think that's a good way to do it in the app? Or should it be more click here, view the roadmap, add something, upvote, downvote? Or should it be added to the email, send it to a database where AI like sorts it or categorizes it, and then it adds it to feature OS? And then that's what's public on the site.
That seems like well,
That would be less work.
this is what ours looks like. So this is like what people can look at, and then if they like something, they can click on it to view more data about it or upvote it.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna have to think this one through. Yeah, I'll put some more thought into that one. But that's super cool. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that plus having a support ticket system plus a public Discord
Mm.
plus weekly videos uploaded to YouTube seems like it's enough.
I'm gonna have to start with one thing at a time
I would
right
hold off
now
on the
because we're
Discord as long as you can.
yeah. I don't know if that's as I don't know if that's a B2C thing. Like what consumer app do you use on your phone that has a Discord as their support? I'm gonna have to think that one through. I'm sure there's a more streamlined way to just do it for iOS apps. I'll have to dig into that one a little more.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm really cautious of the second release because the app will do a lot, but it's not specifically designed for any one particular use case. Like I think one of the things that it's going to do really well is uh, help parents deal with stressful situations, like when a toddler is having a tantrum. You can get like on the spot practical advice that's catered to your kid on how to deal with it, or planning and preparation. Like meal plan preparation, I think is going to be a big one, or scanning food labels, because that's like an added functionality on top of just the base level functionality of ChatGPT. I think those will be really cool things, but it's something that's in the main chat interface that you can do, but it's not as if there's a home screen and we've categorized all the possible functions. You know what I mean? And I think there are some other things that we can add. I think a timer feature is going to be super important. So timing how long it's been since they woke up or how long their nap was, or just a simple counter on how many bottles they had that day or how many ounces were in the bottle. So I think utilizing the native timer feature and the tracking feature is going to be important, but I don't know yet. And it wasn't in version one, and I just want to get it out there and get the initial user base before we start building out these other features.
Yeah, get it out there. It's and like it hopefully doesn't, but it's probably going to suck, but that's okay because the whole point is to talk with every single user, get their feedback, figure out how they're actually using it, and then build towards that as
Yeah,
version 2. Nothing
yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah. Got it. Cool. That helps.
Yeah. Shiny object within your own platform is definitely real
Yeah.
because you're seeing things. Well, in your case, I guess it's just you and Kathy, but or you like you're seeing things versus like me and Tim. We both see different things and then come together and talk about ideas or concepts. And it's like, well, has any customer said that?
Yeah, it's true, but I think it's a lot easier to do research on the consumer side, especially in a parenting niche, because people love to talk about their kids and complain online. So we can figure out what people's pain points are outside of seeing how people use the app. And it's
Yeah.
actually interesting. There are not a lot of competitors. There are not a lot of major parenting apps. Like there's four. That's it. They're outside of the main four, everything else is like a dot compared to the market size that these four have. So I think if we can take some of the functionality that you see in these other four and just do it in a really well designed way from a UI stand or UX standpoint, um, I think that'll be really useful.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see. Probably a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. This is a good one.
Definitely. I'm excited about Stammer. These
Me
are
too.
some crazy updates.
Yeah, I can't wait to like start creating more wild examples and use cases for my own use within my own
Hmm.
platform,
Yeah,
which is always fun.
that'd be really cool. Awesome, man.
All right.